All right, today we're going to tackle a challenge that, let's be honest, we've all faced. How to make group work, well, actually work. We're going to break down the actual skills that make the difference between a team that struggles and one that really, truly succeeds. Come on, you know the feeling. The second you hear the words group project, your heart just sinks a little bit, right? You start bracing for the worst, already wondering who's going to get stuck doing everything. It's a feeling pretty much everyone can relate to. And look, those feelings are totally valid because the frustrations are almost always the same, aren't they? There's no clear direction, so the work gets spread out unevenly. That leads to those super awkward silences, and before you know it, one person is just carrying the entire team. It's a cycle we all know too well. But here's the big idea, the thing that changes everything. What if good teamwork has absolutely nothing to do with luck? What if it's not about getting the right people? What if it's a skill, something anyone can learn, practice, and actually get good at? It turns out it all comes down to two main things. Think of them as the two foundational pillars. On one hand, you've got the climate. This is the why, the emotional vibe of the group, how you all feel working together. On the other hand, you've got the process. That's the how, the nuts and bolts of how you actually get the work done. You really can't have one without the other. So let's dive into that first pillar, building a healthy climate. You can think of this as the heart of your team. It's all about the feeling, the energy, the reason you either enjoy working together or you dread it.
And the main goal here is to build something called cohesion. Now, this is way more than just being polite. Cohesion is that real sense of unity you get when people genuinely know each other, trust each other, and have each other's backs. It's what lets a team get through the tough stuff.
So how do you actually build it? Well, it starts with being genuinely curious about your teammates. From there, you build trust by being respectful, especially when you disagree. But the biggest thing is shifting your mindset. You're not competitors trying to outshine each other. You're collaborators working toward the same goal. This quote right here really nails the most important mindset shift. When something goes wrong, and it will, our first instinct is to ask, okay, whose fault was that? A really cohesive group fights that instinct. Instead, they ask, what can we learn from this? That one little change in language is a total game changer. Okay, let's switch gears to our second pillar, creating an effective process. If the climate was the heart, then the process is the brains of the whole operation. It's the logic and the structure that keeps everything on track. A good process isn't complicated. It just makes sense. You start by getting super clear on who's doing what. Then you build a culture where everyone feels accountable for their part. That allows you to give and get good feedback. And all of that is built on the basics: good planning, managing time, and not wasting it in meetings. Every step builds on the last one. Let's just zoom in on that word, accountability. The key thing to get is that it's a two-way street. It's not just about you taking responsibility for your stuff, it's also about the whole group agreeing to respectfully hold each other to that same high standard. A great process also recognizes that people wear different hats in a group. You've got the facilitator who runs the meeting, the idea generator, the encourager who's so important for morale. Just knowing these roles exist is powerful. But the best teams, they actually rotate them so everyone gets a chance to grow. Okay, we've covered the two pillars, climate and process, the heart and the brains. But there is one final skill that makes both of them better. You can think of it as the master key that unlocks everything else, and that is the power of reflection. So why is reflection the master key? Because it's the engine that drives improvement. It's just the simple act of hitting pause and asking, hey, how are we actually doing? It takes those vague feelings of frustration and turns them into concrete problems you can actually start to solve. You can start with some really simple but powerful questions. For climate, ask yourself, how do I really react when someone else shares an idea? Am I supportive? Do I shut it down? And how do people react to my ideas? What's that telling me about our group's vibe? When it comes to process, you've got to ask the hard questions. How do we actually make decisions around here? Is it one person? Is it a vote? And this is the big one. What happens when someone isn't happy with the decision? If you don't have a good answer for that, you've found a major source of your problems. And finally, turn that reflection on yourself. Which of those roles do I usually fall into? Am I the idea person, the recorder? Is that what the team needs from me right now? And which role do I want to play, and what would it take for me to step into it? And all of this brings us to what might be the single most important point. It is not enough to just do the project. You have to think about how you're doing it. The best teams work on the team, not just in the team. That regular habit of reflection, that's the secret sauce. So I'll leave you with this final question. Based on everything we've just covered, from building a good climate to creating a solid process to the power of reflection, what is the one specific skill you're going to consciously try to practice the very next time you're in a group setting? Because that single conscious choice, that's where all the change begins.